Another question that we got is a lot of activists still rally behind the fight for 15, but that's still a starvation wage. The Green New Deal is a start, but doesn't go far enough. Should we try to organize around stronger demands and negotiate down, or should we start with modest demands and work up?
I think it depends on the issue. I mean, I think the fight for 15 has been in terms of my lifetime, it's been one of the most successful campaigns. I mean, it's maybe it's not saying much because we've just experienced decades and decades of retrenchment and defeat. But the fight for 15, because I remember it well, and spoiler alert, I hosted the Fight for 15 national conference in 2016. Was it 2015 or 2016? When it started, I remember well, was seen as ridiculous. That was seen as like a ridiculous demand. Like, it was like, what? Are you guys insane? Like, this is crazy. Everyone in the media laughed at them. And it seemed at the time ridiculous. But they've achieved concrete victories, both in major places like California and New York, but also in places that you wouldn't expect.
Like Florida.
And what?
Like Florida. I mean, I don't know Florida. If it's the same group that,
No, it's a national movement with like local chapters and things like that. But they've, Florida, but also like, I think like Biloxi, Mississippi, or I don't even remember, like random places like that. But they did succeed to the point where now the fight for 15 looks like not enough. But when it started, it looked like a ridiculous pie in the sky demand, and now it doesn't seem that way anymore. So I think in the case of that, like that has been a relatively successful demand. In terms of the Green New Deal, it is true that the Green New Deal won't stop climate change, but it is also true that the Green New Deal would be the most transformative piece of legislation in America since 1965. I don't know what to say. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, it's you can always go more. You can always ask for more. We could ask for, but at a certain point, you got to draw the line somewhere. I don't know like where you do it, and I don't know that there's a right answer to it.
Mm-hmm. I have some thoughts, but Anna, do you want to chime in?
No, go take it away. I think Nando did a good job. I agree with him.
So part of the fight for 15, I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, but part of the reason why it turned into a political campaign rather than just service sector workers fighting for wage increases within whether it's the particular workplaces or within the firms broadly, so like in McDonald's or other fast food restaurants, et cetera. A lot of that has to do with the challenges that service sector workers are facing right now, and effectively just their structural leverage. That this is something that we're encountering across the board, across the country, in all different sectors, where workers are they're at a disadvantage. In all situations, as like a working class person up against your boss, the boss obviously has far greater power compared to you, but like we're in a historical juncture where the working class, under what we call neoliberalism, has that much less structural leverage, that it's become more difficult to organize. And that's part of the reason why we're in this rut that we're in. It's not just that it's not that like workers in the past wanted it more, and the workers today just want to, throw their hands up and give up, and, are too wed to consumer products or something. And therefore that's why they don't fight to have a better life. There's like real objective constraints in the way. And that's where they ended up deciding to move towards a national political campaign saying, if we can't raise the wages within our individual workplaces, we can at the very least try to raise the minimum wage at the national level and try to get support from people across the country around this issue. I think that's so. To get to the actual question that was asked about, do you start with strong demands and negotiate down, or start modest and work up? I mean, I think it's very kind of, in some ways, I think it's the wrong question. And I think that's maybe why, like, Nando was also maybe, it's a hard thing to answer, because it kind of, we could just put out all of these demands and say we want everything, right? We could we could have and this is what like the Sanders campaign did at its, in some ways it was good and in some ways it wasn't as good, but that, the Sanders campaign gave us like, this is the full platform of everything that we want. But obviously we all know that if Sanders had gotten elected president, he would not have been able to have gotten the vast majority of those things, passed through Congress or implemented, certainly within a first term, maybe not even within 2 terms, that it would have had to have then come down to political priorities of saying, well, these are the programs, or this is the program that we most want to advance right now. And again, I think these are just calculations based on, power. And what I would say ultimately is just that, and this goes back to our conversation with Matt Huber, that like the left can't see the working class as just like a means to an end, that that the end is, we have our big long like list of demands that we want, which obviously we have that, and it's not a bad thing to have that. It's actually very good to have like coherent set of things we want to change in society. But then it can't just be, okay, well, the workers are just thrown into action and we get what we want, or even worse, we could just kind of get it with it, without working class people, that we can just will it into existence, or if we just get enough people calling a senator or something. That I think the way to answer this ultimately is to focus on where are working class people actually, where are their struggles, how, where are they hitting roadblocks, and then how can the left actually effectively contribute to their struggles, and from there building up relationships in a way where you can actually have coalitions that then can actually effectuate the list of demands, the wish list. So I think it's different in different contexts. So post Bernie, healthcare fights have changed quite a bit. Like we've covered some of that recently on Jacobin show with Natalie Scher and Christy Offenbacher on how the fight for Medicare for all nationally has changed versus the state level fights, for instance, in New York and California. So I think that's the very, I know I'm giving an extremely long answer, but I think the short version is just that the left should, when we're trying to figure out how to contribute, we should start with like, where are the workers actually right now in these fights, and how can we help effectively push them into, push the fight along, like join forces with them to push along the fight. I think that's what Bernie 2016 was all about, actually, that's the original platform came from, these are the actual demands that various workers are fighting for in their respective kind of fields in society.
If you enjoyed this video from Jacobin Weekends, please hit like and subscribe. That way, you'll enjoy all of our backlog, as well as all of our future content, including interviews, live streams, and clips. Thank you.